And oftentimes, the countries that we would get sent to are yung mga Asian countries. And the first place that they would bring us to in these Asian countries, yung mga tour guides, they would bring us to all these, they would bring us to, all the night food markets. Like, for example, in Taiwan, they would bring you to Shilin. If you would go to Singapore, they bring you to Lau Pa Sat. In Thailand, they would bring you to Chatuchak. And I was wondering, these markets were bustling with so many people, both locals and foreigners, who wanted to try out the local street food scene. And I was thinking to myself, how come in the Philippines we don't have an equivalent of a night food market, despite the fact that many Filipinos, they like to eat late at night, just like our Asian counterparts. But more importantly, as our friend from the Renzi from the BPO industry will tell us, diba, what is the lunchtime of the BPO industry? 11 p.m. at night. At pag 11 p.m. ng gabi, saan sila kakain? Sa mga convenience store fried chicken, or would they rather have a freshly cooked meal? And that's our target, to get to you want to solve that irritation of providing a late night food venue for late night eaters, but at the same time to create a night food market scene. So that was really the first inspiration that we had for the market. The second one, if you can go to the next slide, our second irritation, or for me this was an inspiration, was that me and my wife, when we honeymooned about 14 years ago, we went to the Mercato Centrale in Florence, Italy, and we were so inspired by the market over there. It wasn't like a wet market over here, It was a market where you got to experience meeting people, trying food. So we really enjoyed the experience over there. And we said, how can we translate that and bring that experience back here to the Philippines? So those are the two basic inspirations that we had to begin the Mercato Centrale. Next slide, please. So we actually began the market as a morning market, because at that time, back in November 2010, the very popular morning markets were the Legaspi market and the Salcedo market, which I enjoyed going to. And the only pain point I had for them was that I was saying, people were saying, wala silang aircon, di ba? So we created the first market, was a morning market na nilagyan namin ng aircon sa loob. And there were so many vendors who wanted to join at the time Legaspi and Salcedo market in the morning. Wala na silang lugar, so we were able to provide an additional venue for them. So that's how we began the market. And eventually we realized that we had to pivot, we had to change how the business was run. And we realized, because if we want to grow the market, we needed another location for it. We needed to create another time slot for it. And we went to we evolved from being a morning market into a nighttime market. Next slide, please. So pre-pandemic, we actually put up about 3 locations with over 100 plus vendors. And that was pre-pandemic. But the thing is, when the pandemic hit in March 2020, places of mass gathering like Mercato Central had to be closed down for public health purposes. So all of a sudden, all our markets disappeared. We were problematic with, how do you pay rent? And then more importantly for us, we're saying, how can we help our small food vendors? Because many of our vendors these are not large companies, these are small food vendors. And we were asking ourselves, what can we do to continually help our small food vendors grow? Next slide, please. But before that, just a couple of things I did. We did win several awards on the way of putting Mercato. So I just wanted to show you briefly the awards which we got. Next slide, please. So these are the different awards which we received over the past couple of years. Next slide, please. And of course, we also got an award as an enterprise innovator for our business model at the First Man Smith Awards. Next slide, please. And just like Grace Nicolas over here, we are both mentors in Go Negosyo. We help small food businesses grow through Go Negosyo. Next slide, please. So what happened here right now is that, our business was disrupted. We were disrupted by a pandemic. Before, people were being disrupted by technological innovations, like the taxi business was disrupted by Uber, the hotel business was disrupted by Airbnb. So now naman, what we were being disrupted by was not technology, but rather by a pandemic. So how do we as entrepreneurs react in these times when a pandemic hits our businesses and we have to change our business? Well, again, we look at the pandemic as another irritation to our business. And how do we solve irritations? We solve irritations by thinking of new ways to solve that irritation. We turn that irritation into an inspiration for doing a new business model. So when your business is being disrupted by a pandemic, next slide, please. Your entrepreneurial is still the same. Your job is to find ways to solve that irritation. People could no longer access our vendors, access our food. So we had to find another way that they could access our food more efficiently or more effectively, or something that was cognizant of the new normal. Next slide, please. So, the Chinese often say "wei ji," diba? Which is the first term they often say means crisis. The second one means opportunity. So in every crisis lies an opportunity. So in this case, what happened over here? Next slide, please. So if your business is being disrupted, what do you do? Next slide. You disrupt yourself again. You disrupt your own business. Find different ways now of doing your business. Next slide. So we were one of the first to readjust again during this pandemic because al fresco was the way to go, right? Because people want to go outdoors. So we were one of the first who were able to carefully review the IATF protocols and mandates to create our outdoor food markets. And from there, the outdoor food markets really bloomed. They really blossomed because everybody was going outdoor. In fact, we've opened up, we're opening up now. We bought 5, 6 markets. We keep on opening up newer ones almost every month for these outdoor food markets. Next slide, please. Next slide. So these are just all the different markets. We also have right now our Mercato kitchen because we realized that we needed one central area where we could bring all the different vendors so that they could be open on a 24/7 basis, or they could be open more often for people. And we put all our vendors into one location versus just having a al fresco location. We also now have a physical location for our vendors to be co-located. Last slide, please. And we're also working with the Multisys Group to develop a Mercato app where we're able to help all these different small food vendors grow through the app. So instead of them being in a physical venue, they're all together now in a digital venue. Last slide, please. So right now, if you are interested to become a food vendor in any of our Mercato Central locations, if you've got an interesting food concept that you want to grow, I invite you to please become part of the Mercato Central family. You can contact us at the cell phone number that appears below, 0917-160-5635. Or you can also visit our Mercato Central Facebook page and tell me that you want to become a vendor at Mercato Central. So Grace, thanks so much again. Thanks to Asia Leaders Forum. And of course, thank you as well to our friends at Manila Times.